powerful as Rimuru might be, there is another being who is even stronger. In fact, you could say he was the daddy of Rimuru and all of creation. VELDENAVA, the Star King, the first being to ever exist. But he wasn't content living alone, so he created sibling true dragons whose power was boundless. Like Velzard, the Frost Dragon, who spends her days in the Ice Castle getting freaky with Guy Crimson. And then you have Velgrynd, who spends her days in the Eastern Empire's castle gooning over the first hero Rudra. However, the third dragon VELDORA, he's built different. You could even say he might have become stronger than his sisters now because he spent 2 whole years inside of Rimuru using our sponsor, Opera GX. All this time, VELDORA wasn't bored one bit. Oh, he's reading One Piece and wants to get the full pirate experience? Well, just head over to the GX store and find the perfect GX mod like an animated wallpaper featuring all of your favorites. What if VELDORA is missing his buddy Rimiru inside imaginary space? Well, fear not, because you can put on a Rimuru theme. But we all know VELDORA gets bored very quickly, right? Yet he doesn't have to worry because he can watch anime whilst reading manga and browse the web all at the same time thanks to Opera GX's multitasking magic and video pop-up feature. That's not all though. Just like VELDORA had Ifrit to keep him company and Rimuru has Great Sage, Opera GX has gotten smarter with its generative AI integration. ChatGPT and ChatSonic are here to assist you. Say goodbye to boring search results and hello to AI Great Sage that's as smart as it is helpful. So download Opera GX right now by using the link in the description below. Don't let your browser hold you back. Be like VELDORA and level up with our sponsor, Opera GX. But before VELDORA even existed, it all started with VELDENAVA, the creator of everything. You see, pre-creation itself, only a single will existed, a power limited only by imagination. However, one day, this will was like, I'm bored as hell, and decided to just casually construct space and time. Space for new wills to occupy, and time to experience events in a sequential manner. Mind you, this will was so powerful, it literally knew everything that was going to happen, as it was an omniscient digital life form. If you have watched the other Tensura videos, you would know these entities exist at the end of time and hold dominion over even the rules that govern those who can change the laws of the universe. So this digital will knew basically everything the universe had to offer, and so said F all that and gave up its godlike knowledge, instead transforming into the first true dragon, VELDENAVA. He awoke in the place of beginnings and began his work as a literal god. First, VELDENAVA took command of the Great Holy Spirit, splitting it into 7 servants to assist him, or now known as the 7 primordial angels. This also led the shadow of the spirit, what was left after the angels' creation, to become the 7 primordial demons. If you think that this makes VELDENAVA strong, then you're delusional, because this man is casually able to use imaginary collapse to create a multitude of universes. However, after the creation of the multiverse, VELDENAVA's use of null energy, which is used to create everything, was quite finite compared to what Rimuru can do at the end of volume 21, as he went to the end of time and CL asks him, oh, do you want to create a new universe and reset everything? And bro said no, of course. But I'll get into that in the Rimuru section later. For reference, this or nihility ability is so powerful that Rimuru himself gets damaged when he uses it, as it allows a user to constantly produce and harness ultimate destructive energy. Through this world creation power, VELDENAVA created the cardinal world at the heart of this multiverse, which he planned to populate with powerful and immortal spirits, which he referred to as godly men. So first, he created Twilight Valentine, Luminous's dad, to serve as a template and ancestor to mortals. The only problem was that Twilight was too perfect. He had no concept of gender and reproduction, and so procreated giant humans and vampires. However, these high humans sucked. Despite possessing long lives and boundless knowledge, their egos made them self-destructive, just as human nature always has been. So Twilight said screw that and gave birth to humans and demi-humans, which fulfilled Veldenava's desires despite them not being immortal. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but these primordial demons, primordial angels, even giants and fairies, all of these spirits, they kind of lack imagination and creativity. Like, all of these guys have boundless potential. They've been living for billions of years, but like, what have they done? Like, nothing. And this dude Rimuru shows up for 2 years and revolutionizes the entire world, makes things interesting for these billion-year-old beings. Like, he's doing what Veldenava wanted. That's why these finite mortal beings like humans were wanted by Veldenava, because these guys like Rimuru and the other humans are the ones doing the interesting stuff, the cool stuff, like creating rice and ramen. Like, one of Rimuru's main focus for Tempest is to create a culture that will produce manga and light novels, entertainment resources to keep everyone busy. So anyway, that's why humans and finite beings were so important to Veldenava. The humans would then populate the numerous universes, and a variety of cultures were developed, like ours. Yes, our universe does exist in the Tensura verse. I'll get to that in Velgrind's part. However, at this point, the mortal's existence in the cardinal world was threatened. So Veldenava ordered his subordinate, the first primordial angel, to watch over the multiverse by destroying the epitome of evil Ivorage and quell the cryptids like the Insectors who wanted to dominate the different realms, with their leader Zalanis wishing to become the next Veldenava. So as the world progressed the way he wanted, Veldenava then isolated parts of his divine authority into the ultimate skills. Yep, you heard me right. This dragon had access to and created every ultimate skill, so it's no wonder he could craft the multiverse with the snap of his finger. However, he even gave up this power. By letting the skills fly off into nature's cycle, they could now choose their own masters, and Veldenava only kept the skill Michael for himself. After this, he would eventually meet Ramiris and Guy Crimson, whose powers had reached a level that could potentially stand against his nerfed self. Okay, let's be honest, he no-diffed Guy. However, Veldenava was quite impressed by the primordial skills, especially since Guy gained the ultimate skill Pride after their battle, which later evolves into the ultimate skill Lucifer. So Veldenava assigns the role of administrators, giving Ramiris and Guy the authority to speak for him, which basically means he entrusted the cardinal world and humanity to them. Ramiris served as a guide for heroes and was the ruler of spirits, while Guy took up the mantle of the Archdaemon and strove to protect and threaten the world as the mediator. Then everything changed about 2,000 years ago, when Veldenava would come into contact with the kingdom of Nazca, taking their crown prince Rudra as a student and training him to be the first chosen hero to stand equal against Guy, who at this point was the only demon lord. Veldenava even gave Rudra the ultimate skill Michael and took his ultimate skill Uriel, which Rimuru gets later on. And oh boy, was that a mistake. But before Michael went all batshit crazy and took over Rudra, Veldenava banged Rudra's sister Lucia, falling in love and having a child, Milim Nava. This marriage with a mortal like Lucia further nerfed Veldenava, where he gave up his omniscience, resulting in most of his energy being diminished and his body destabilizing. And so he used the last of his old body's power to create a sibling for Milim, a baby dragon that served as her companion and pet, ensuring that she would never be alone. This turned the godlike entity into pretty much a basic human, no longer even being immortal. But in Veldenava's eyes, this was fine, as he got to live out the rest of his days with his Pookie and children. His peace wouldn't last though, as an army of elves would eventually attack Veldenava and his kingdom, resulting in both the death of him and Lucia. This would of course lead to Milim's rage and the eventual creation of the Demon Lord Council. If you guys want to know more about that, watch the Demon Lord's video. However, Veldenava was easily the most powerful of the true dragons. I mean, literally created everything and everyone. However, his identity as a digital being ascended all other hierarchies. So his servants believe that he will come back, but he still hasn't. The world reached several conclusions about what happened to Veldenava. Some think that he has become disappointed with his creations and chooses to abandon them. Others believed he wanted to leave everything to Milim, and some even decide that he was just done with it all and wanted to enjoy what he had created from some distant plane of existence. But his servants weren't happy with this at all. So Rudra, Michael, no, now it's Feldaway. They got super mad that their daddy wasn't coming back, and now are actively trying to resurrect Veldenava by stealing the dragon factors, essentially the essences of the different true dragons, which may not even be important because Rimuru is coming back from the end of time and he's gonna know some shit about good old dragon god, right? However, y'all know me, I got that Rimuru is Veldenava theory, so get this video to 15,000 likes, which by the way, you guys blasted that like goal in like 2 days for the Diablo video, so thank you about that. But as of now, Feldaway wants the essences of the true dragons, and he already has the second born true dragon, Velzard. While Velzard and the others are definitely not on the same level as Veldenava himself, Velzard was created to be an equal to her elder brother in terms of their rank in the system, and is truthfully the second strongest true dragon, not counting Rimuru. Basically meaning that she can reincarnate indefinitely and manipulate the laws of the world itself. Unlike Veldenava though, Velzard is very prideful and possessive, being one of the more childish true dragons. Actually, all of them are just like children. Yeah, cut that. The only difference is that she has some semblance of right and wrong and also conceals her emotions as opposed to her younger brother. Another important thing to mention is, unlike other true dragons, Velzard isn't really interested in the matters of the world, not really holding any compassion for living things, and mainly remains in her frost palace, only leaving when something catches her curiosity. One of those would be Guy Crimson, as Velzard's prideful and jealous nature got the best of her when she learned that a lowly demon had fought her older brother Veldenava, and so she wanted to beat him up for his arrogance. The two would fight for thousands of years and come to a draw, eventually becoming rivals who grew to respect one another. Furthermore, Guy fought Velzard with only his unique skill Pride at equal level last time they battled, before evolving it into the ultimate skill Prideful King Lucifer. Velzard was fascinated and jealous of his power and raw talent because at the time, she and Velgrynd had been directly bestowed their ultimate skill from Veldenava, so it's no surprise she admired Guy for his skills. But the most important thing that Guy developed in this fight was of course his aura, which had reached such levels that it even raised up a true dragon. So they both lived happily ever after in the frozen ice continent until the first hero Rudra came along to challenge Guy, which I will get into in the next section about Velgrynd. However, Velzard would serve as a somewhat ally to Rimuru by being affiliated with Guy during the Tenma War. But before the war started, she became a victim to Feldaway's mind control due to her possessing an angelic ultimate skill, Gabriel. However, Velzard is one of the strongest in the entire Tensura verse. She could even break Feldaway's ultimate dominion on her own, but she's letting him control her emotions right now because she wants to fight Guy out of jealousy for what he did by challenging Veldenava. How the hell could you challenge Veldenava and I couldn't challenge Veldenava? Oh, I hate you. I guess not hate you. I love you, you know? But also, she's annoyed that Veldenava chose Guy to watch over the planet and the cardinal world due to his skills, and he just has an interest in Guy, and Velzard is like, no, how could you? What about me? Anyways, Velzard fell to Feldaway's side in the Tenma War, and is that's really freaking bad for our boys because she's the second strongest true dragon, not counting Rimiru. She has a current EP of 74 million, which isn't quite a measure of true strength when we start getting into the top 10s of this world, but it does show she's on the upper echelon of power. In fact, in the past, Velzard believed that punishing VELDORA for his actions of mass destruction was a way to educate him, but despite having his best interests in mind, one-shotting and killing your younger brother over and over again to reset his personality, I think it instead traumatized the dragon. In a theoretical scenario where VELDORA fights Velzard instead of Velgrynd during the Eastern Empire War in Volume 15, honestly, VELDORA would have been severely outmatched mentally, allowing Velzard's potent and highly energy-efficient attacks to strike him. And mind you, these strikes in the past with a lesser power usage, as Velzard was only using her concealed form, was enough to knock VELDORA off his ass, alright? So yeah, in a battle between the two, VELDORA, even with Faust, would have gotten his butt kicked. This is because Velzard excels at controlling her aura, concealing her true identity to even visit Tempest, and not even Rimuru was able to notice this. She was able to effortlessly turn catastrophe class opponents like Frey, Carrion, and Midray into ice sculptures, and she even held her own in a skirmish with a rampaging Milim. This is due to Velzard's nature, as she was created to be the embodiment of deceleration, or in other words, the controller of time, possessing the ultimate skill Gabriel, which gives her dominion over the fixation of states and unforeseen situations, meaning she can essentially lock someone in a temporal stasis. This also, of course, means she has access to time stuff, which, if you've read the light novels or watched the previous time videos, means you know this is the skill that Rimuru was pretty much powerless against until his ascension into a digital being. Her ultimate skill is pretty much the best defense and offense out there. Even in a fight against her sister Velgrynd, Velzard has never even had to exert her full power. Honestly, I wish we could see more of Velzard's power in the latest volume, because she has been stuck in a off-screen 1v1 with Guy for like 3 volumes now. Fuse gotta just chug down some gamer subs using code ABD for 10% off and just power through releasing the next volume. Also, you guys should get some gamer subs too, bro. These slime videos, they take a minute to make, I swear. So support us. All in all, Velzard is broken, and as the second oldest of the true dragons, she has proven herself to be vastly superior than a multitude of Tensura's strongest. And while we briefly just touched upon her, Velzard's sister Velgrynd is still someone you don't want to mess with. She was born not too long after Velzard, where she spent most of her time lounging around her sister and the cardinal world. Her story really starts to pick up when she fell in love with the first hero, Rudra. Velgrynd was present at the Frost Palace when Rudra and Guy fought. These two would become somewhat rivals and friends, deciding to engage in a game to see who could rule the world. Rudra would establish his footing in the east, and Velgrynd was one of the first individuals to support him, transforming the small Nazca kingdom into the Eastern Empire we see in the show by unifying every Eastern kingdom. Velgrynd falling for Rudra is also for balance purposes, because now each side, Guy and the hero, has a true dragon by their side. As for how Velgrynd interacted with her siblings, she held a high respect for VELDENAVA, given his wisdom and power. She would often fight with Velzard about how to discipline VELDORA. However, the key difference in these debates was Velgrynd's compassion, as she tends to be quite gentle and kind to others, especially her little bro VELDORA. For example, when in Volume 15 VELDORA was taken over by Michael's will and was fighting Rimiru, he gets absorbed by our goat. This makes Velgrynd furious, where her rage was only stopped when she figured out that VELDORA was still alive. However, caring for someone doesn't mean you respect them, because after all this, she still didn't hold the Storm Dragon with much respect, seeing him as weaker. This would only change after their fight during the Eastern Empire's invasion of Tempest, where if not for Tatsuya Kondo's bullet against VELDORA, he might have beaten Velgrynd. In this fight against Guy, it is decided that the two won't battle outright, instead choosing to fight through the might of their pawns, with the world itself as a chessboard. So Velgrynd and Rudra first established the Imperial Guardians, an elite fighting force of enlightened humans who had the ability to evolve into saints when going through adversity and battle. Velgrynd served as the marshal of this unit, while her true identity as a true dragon was kept a secret. However, everything was not all okay in Nazca, because soon after, the will of the ultimate skill Michael that Rudra possessed starts to take over him, and Velgrynd begins to notice this. So to help her lover achieve his dreams against Guy and lessen Michael's control on Rudra, she even goes to VELDORA for him to party up with the Eastern Empire. But instead, the Storm Dragon said, "Nah, fight me instead." She of course whooped his ass ass, leading him to flee like a rat. Like, this place is the size of Australia and it got completely decimated. So this led to Michael gaining even more power and control over Rudra. Knowing this, the Emperor asked Damrata and Kondo to kill him if he lost control, but it was too late. Michael eventually gained full dominion of Rudra, turning him and subsequently all of Rudra's vassals into puppets, including Velgrynd. This was done without her knowledge before she could even do anything, due to her having an angelic ultimate skill. Velgrynd fell under Michael's rule, and so she followed his orders without question. This skill was of course Ragul, Lord of Charity, where Velgrynd's power is in direct juxtaposition to her sister Velzard, as she embodies the concept of acceleration and has access to control over fire, hence her epithet of the Scorch Dragon. This makes her the fastest among the true dragons, capable of moving so swiftly it approaches light speed. This is due to her intrinsic power of acceleration, which is only amplified by the ultimate skill Ragul that allows the ability to create multi-layer barriers and most impressively amplify something near infinity. Basically, this can be used to either increase a person's strength to or past the limit of their body, meaning it would send a person into an overheat and that ends up burning them alive. Ragul can also be used on attacks, resulting in catastrophic damage at an almost unlimited offensive power level. For example, this skill was so strong it utterly obliterated 50 levels of Ramirez's dungeon with no sweat. During her time as Rudra or Michael's right-hand woman, she also showcased some insane feats, such as easily defeating the 3 primordial devil sisters of Testarossa, Carrera, and Ultima in their demon peer form. But after CL evolves them into demon lords, Testarossa versus Velgrynd round 2 is actually quite close. Velgrynd would only ever be humbled by the one and only Rimuru Tempest. However, at first, she had Rimuru on the back foot. In fact, her speed and potency of attacks even made Raphael fumble. But after Raphael evolved into CL and Rimuru became a true dragon to surmount the obstacle posed by Velgrynd, it was light work. Velgrynd got packed up and was defeated by CL's insane computing powers as a Manas, where she was able to use Velgrynd's own acceleration to defeat her. But this didn't completely kill Velgrynd, because she also possesses another ability called Parallel Existence. This ability allows the user to split their consciousness and give flesh to independent alter egos of themselves, referred to as an other body. Now you might be like, Sid, this just sounds like shadow clones or body double technique that Soei has. Well, it's not even close, because each other body can be considered the main vessel and will continue to exist even after the original dies. They are also fully autonomous and share thoughts and awareness with each other. The only thing connecting everything is the pool of the user's magicules, but in a true dragon like Velgrynd's case, whose EP is over 60 million, even if she splits her magicule count to like 50 doubles, she could still body a demon lord like Clayman or Carrion. Furthermore, use of unique and even ultimate skills isn't restricted to the doubles either. The only downside is that for each other body created, 10% of the user's maximum energy is used as collateral, meaning if, let's say, a double loses, then you also lose 10% of your magicules regardless of the double using any attacks or not. But if you disable it yourself, then you're fine. The 10% mana comes back to you. However, the way Rimiru and CL defeated Velgrynd was interesting as hell, where Rimiru absorbed the Parallel Existence double, which allowed him to gain Velgrynd's dragon factor. Upon her defeat, this double of Velgrynd was freed from Michael's control and learned the truth about Rudra's actions, and wanting to bring back her glorious king, she teamed up with Rimuru in order to find Rudra's complete soul, which had been scattered all throughout the timeline of the multiverse, where one of these fragments had become the current hero of the West, Masayuki, who is Rudra's reincarnation, and Velgrynd loves all forms of Rudra. He has been reincarnating for over 2,000 years for his game with Guy, and that has slowly chipped away at his soul and morals, making it easier for Michael to take over his consciousness. This basically turned Velgrynd into a friend of Tempest, similar to VELDORA, as Masayuki was working to beat the dungeon under the employ of Rimuru. She also became a part of Rimiru's being through the ultimate skill Azathoth, but we'll touch upon that when we get to the final true dragon on this list. All you really need to know right now is that Ciel, using her skill maxing, makes Velgrynd even stronger, as she is able to remove phantoms from humans using just her cardinal aura. To demonstrate just how strong she is now, Velgrynd was able to construct a star barrier which prevented a rampaging Milim. You know, she is the daughter of the god that is considered to be stronger than Rimuru, and Velgrynd's barrier saved the entire cardinal world. Velgrynd also gained a new power called Cthulhu, Lord of Flame God. I don't know how to say that. An upgrade to Ragul, which allows her to leap into several other dimensions as long as there is a guide or connection to it. With Rimiru's help, she was also able to complete her magic power circulation, enhancing her abilities to function in another dimension with little magicules and receiving no damage. This was also she could locate Rudra's fragments across time and space, leading her to collect all of the shards of his soul, finally returning them to Masayuki, whom she has chosen to protect at all costs throughout the events of the current Tenma War. But I will go deeper into Velgrynd and Rudra's relationship in a different video about the Eastern Empire, so keep a lookout on that. Listen, volume 17 is the most boring volume of Slime, alright? Half of the volume is just Velgrynd going to this other world that has like China and like Japan, and these different countries are battling it out. Half of the novel is just the side plot with characters that honestly don't even matter. They do introduce us to like cryptids and phantoms and all that, but I did not care. It felt like such a filler. Sorry, I needed to get that out of my system. So now, this brings us to Best Boy VELDORA. This hunk of a man is lovable, courageous, and insanely overpowered because he was born as the incarnation of chaos itself, immediately having control over wind, water, and space from birth. Since inception, VELDORA has been plagued with an immense restlessness, embarking on destructive rampages which cause violent storms, and is considered more as a natural phenomenon than an individual to most humans, where his damage is seen as an unavoidable tragedy, like how a hurricane or tornado is seen by us in real life. But the real VELDORA, this man essentially just has severe ADHD and doesn't have any sort of means to restrict it, which leads Velzard and Velgrynd to come beat his ass whenever he gets the zoomies. Like we mentioned earlier, this constant cycle of his sister beating his ass has caused VELDORA to be scarred for life, making him so fearful of his sisters that even now he pisses his pants when Velzard even looks his way. One of VELDORA's most famous rampages happens about 2,000 years ago, as bro was bored and casually trashed up the vampire city ruled by Luminous. Now, if there is one thing you don't do, it's mess with Luminous, because if you mess with Luminous, you're messing with me, you're messing with all the people in the comments. You don't do that. Alright, anyway, so because VELDORA destroyed Luminous's pride and joy, she held an eternal grudge against this true dragon. However, VELDORA's most important historical moment pre-Rimuru was about 300 years ago, when the Eastern Empire dispatched their army to expand the nation's territory. They encountered VELDORA in the Jura forest and got absolutely crushed. So the hero was dispatched to seal him away with Infinity Prison. Okay, this is actually Chronoa, or time loop Chloe's body, possessed by 1700-year-old Hinata's soul, who after looping through several incarnations had a... Okay, no, I'm not doing it this video. If y'all really want a full explanation of this, go get some gamer subs with code ABD 10% off. These videos would not be possible without me chugging down some anime girl thighs, alright? Anyways, all you need to know for this video is the fact that VELDORA was sealed away by the hero Chronoa and was only freed when Rimiru ate his ass, and he lived rent-free in the slime's stomach for 2 years until our goat became a demon lord. During this time, his divine protection, known as the Crest of Storms, was applied to Rimuru and those he named prior to volume 15. In other words, naming a monster takes up a lot of magicules, and Rimuru did it like it was nothing. So VELDORA's magicule stores facilitated Rimiru's naming spree due to him being stored inside. And eventually, VELDORA's freedom came due to the Great Sage's own evolution into Raphael, allowing him to finally remove the restrictions of Infinity Prison and top that with a clone of Rimuru for him to inhibit, and bam! You get VELDORA on your team. And what an asset he is. First of all, now that he inhabits a clone of our slime god, he has a soul corridor with Rimuru. This is essentially a link that allows the two to share power with one another. This was how Rimuru was able to use abilities like Black Lightning from the get-go. VELDORA is now also functionally immortal due to him storing his memories within Rimuru. If you've ever played Final Fantasy, VELDORA is basically a summon and can be resummoned over and over again no matter how much damage he takes. This would also happen to Velgrynd post-Eastern Empire War. In human form, VELDORA also has access to VELDORA-style killing arts, which is a type of physical martial arts. If you think this is something a child would make up after watching Naruto, you'd be exactly right, as VELDORA was reading manga from Rimiru's memories and turned those unrealistic and impractical combat techniques into an actual fully usable combat style that works, like using Kamehameha or Hadouken against Milim. Just like everyone else in Rimiru's army, the Great Sage's ascension also boosted VELDORA's power, such as increasing his unique skill Investigator to 348 times its previous potency, eventually evolving into the ultimate skill Faust. This allows the user to manipulate the probability of any event to the outcome they please. Take the example we used in another slime video, a coin flip. If VELDORA wants the coin to land on heads every time, it'll probably land on heads every time. More notably, if VELDORA has 10,000 projectiles shot towards him, he can make it so every single one misses him, like he did against Velgrynd in Volume 14. The only time this power isn't completely one-sided is when he's fighting those of similar strength or will, which causes Faust to only double the chances of him winning the probability. From his rebirth, VELDORA became a staple of Tempest's militaristic might, gaining him the title of the guardian deity of Tempest and even serving as the final boss to Ramirez's dungeon, where he fought no time loop normal Hinata and blasted her ass. But what if I told you this man gets even stronger? Would you believe it? Because he has been training in the dungeon against Jijin, Abito, all these great calamity threats, even Diablo, all this time getting resurrected over and over again. So this man has leveled up massive. Firstly, this is due to As the Thought, where Rimuru was able to change the characteristics of spiritual life forms connected to him, which included VELDORA. He eliminated the danger of losing their ego, the soul's innermost part or nucleus, from being reset upon reincarnation. Wait, you're probably asking, Sid, I thought true dragons are immortal. Well, they are, but they can still die, and upon reincarnation, their ego or the innermost part of their soul is reset, which even changes their personalities. This isn't a problem for VELDORA anymore as long as Rimuru is intact. This works in reverse order as well, by the way. Faust was also evolved into Nyarlathotep. Show the word on screen. I don't know how to say this. Lord of Chaos, which just boosts his probability chances even more, and just like Velgrynd, makes it so his body and soul ascend through space, time, and multiple other worlds, leading VELDORA to resist time stop now, which he does in his current battle against Dagrul, against whom VELDORA had been sparring with since ancient times. Although nerfed in the current time, Dagrul became an absolute menace once he turned into his true Ashura form by absorbing his brothers. With just his attack Quasar Break, Dagrul sends a shiver down VELDORA's spine, which in the past would have frightened the dragon enough for him to run away. However, we witnessed some character growth upon VELDORA, as after meeting Rimuru and reading One Piece, he knows Luffy and Rimuru would never abandon his Nakama, who in this case are Shion and Luminous. So both of these world-ending calamities put on a show which was so devastating that if Luminous, Shion, and rest of the fighters didn't pool their energies together to create a barrier, all of them would be dead from just their residual energy, which was dispersed through their fists clashing. Luminous even compliments VELDORA for maturing a bit, as even in this dire situation, he had the protection of his friends in mind and was managing to surpass Dagrul. Then finally, VELDORA unleashed his final move, the Fertile Paradox, which is a rainbow-colored attack that engulfed the whole of Lupilius. This power is an ability of acceptance, which swallows up all the consciousnesses it comes in contact with, literally separating the three giant Ashura brothers and even giving Luminous a sense of orgasmic bliss. I mean, I guess this rainbow-colored attack is representative of the calm eye of the Storm Dragon. Also, this attack changes the entire landscape of Dagrul's dominion, which used to be a complete barren desert, but now is green and lush with fauna. Finally, we have the newest and fifth true dragon, Rimuru Tempest, the Void Dragon. Rimuru became a true dragon during the Eastern Empire's invasion of Tempest, which covers volumes 13 to 15. You see, VELDORA gets brainwashed and and then Rimuru has to fight not one, but 2 true dragons. Obviously, if you've made it this far into the video, you know this dude kicks both VELDORA and Velgrynd's ass, which of course is due to him becoming their new sibling. Yep, at this point, Rimuru is considered family to these guys, which means he's God's younger brother. But how is this even possible? How does a slime become a dragon? Well, it's due to Raphael, or CL. Upon seeing that her master had to take on 2 true dragons, Raphael started to doubt herself, and so to boost its morale, Rimuru gave it a name, CL, evolving the ultimate skill into a Manas, just like Michael. With this upgrade, CL was not only able to analyze info particles, aka the building blocks of the universe, but actively manipulate. And since CL is an evolved form of Wisdom King Raphael, she has dominion over all information in the universe, essentially allowing her to change the fabric of reality at will. Like, Velgrynd was using a superpower acceleration attack, and CL went nope, and created a skill instantly that was strong enough to overpower hers. CL focuses on Velgrynd while Rimuru tries to get his BFF VELDORA back, and it's in that moment that CL casually goes, yo, Rimuru, wanna become a true dragon? Rimuru obviously is pretty shocked by this, but after absorbing the Chaos Dragon core of Milim's pet and analyzing VELDORA himself, CL has all the necessary components to evolve Rimuru into a true dragon. Naturally, becoming one of the embodiments of creation multiplies Rimiru's strength by a ton, especially with his new power to understand the world's nature itself. He also gains control over space, time, and magical elements due to his new ability, Dragon Release. Rimuru also predates Velgrynd here, which we know obviously increased her strength, but also made our boy even stronger. Just like VELDORA, he can summon her and even use her magic cues and abilities now. Furthermore, Beelzebub gets an upgrade, transforming the skill's stomach into literal infinite space, a whole ass new dimension under Rimiru's control. But that's nothing compared to the best power Rimuru gets upon his upgrade, as a ton of his ultimate skills are combined to form one ultra powerful ability, Void God Azatar. Remember everything we just talked about in this video regarding skills? Yeah, well, that skill is all of those combined. Dragon skills, ultimate skills, doesn't matter. Everything gets a level up and Rimuru can use it. Even space-time domination. So yeah, Rimuru controls space and time at an even greater level than he did like 5 minutes ago. This evolution is Rimuru's most pivotal, and it's very likely that Rimuru is in fact VELDENAVA himself, as not anyone can become a true dragon. You need a unique soul or ego to be able to withstand reality itself, and according to Feldway's theory, you need the 3 dragon cores of Velzard, VELDORA, and Velgrynd to resurrect VELDENAVA's soul. Rimuru has 2 out of 3 right now and is probably gonna get Velzard's when he comes back from the edge of time as a digital being, something that VELDENAVA was also. Furthermore, if you look at VELDENAVA's dragon color, it's literally Rimuru's blue. I'm not making this stuff up, guys. There is real evidence, but I will explore that theory in the next slime video. Also, shout out to my friend Weave the World for helping me make sure all this info from 21 novels is accurate. So go watch every time Rimuru leveled up.